Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the opening ceremony of the Worldwide AI Hackathon, co-hosted by WOAI and Transatlantic AI Exchange, on behalf of WODAO, the first decentralized autonomous organization for the AI community. My name is Eric, and it's an honor to serve as a moderator for this incredible event. Our mission is to empower AI talents by challenging them to solve the toughest problems and motivate them to turn their ideas into complete products and commercialize them. The challenges are designed by top AI thought leaders who are AI executives from more than 30 tech giants and large corporations, including Google, Oracle, Microsoft, IBM, MasterCard, Samsung, Oxford Brooks, and many others. Today, we have gathered the brightest minds and the most innovative thinkers from all over the world to collaborate and create the most groundbreaking projects using artificial intelligence. We would like to take a moment to recognize our amazing judges, mentors, and contestants who have made this event possible. Their support and dedication to advancing AI technology have allowed us to bring together some of the most talented individuals in the field, and we are grateful for their contributions. We are pleased to introduce our esteemed hosts for today's event, who are representatives of the hackathon's organizers. Ha Dao, co-organizer of the Worldwide AI Hackathon and CEO of WOAI. Thomas Newbert, co-organizer of the Worldwide AI Hackathon, founder of Transatlantic AI Exchange, and former GM AI Acceleration at Intel. We are also honored to welcome our distinguished speakers. Nestor Camilo, Director of CAPS at Oracle. Raghubanda, Senior Director of AI Product Management at SAP Labs. Patrick Bangert, former VP of AI at Samsung SDS and Senior Vice President of Data Analytics and AI at Sears. Jesus Hormigo, Chief of Cloud and AI Officer at Screening Eagle Technologies. And most importantly, we would like to extend a warm welcome to all the judges, mentors, contestants, and members of WODAO who have joined us today. Without all of you, this event wouldn't be possible. Now, let's take a look at the agenda for today's event. To begin with, we will hear from our esteemed judges who will share with you about each competition, welcome you to join and participate, and provide insights on what they expect from you. Next, we will introduce WODAO, the first decentralized autonomous organization for the AI community. Our hosts, who represent the initial members of the DAO, will explain the bigger picture of the Worldwide AI Hackathon. They will provide insights into the purpose of its implementation, the ecosystem in which it operates, as well as the advantages of being a member of the WODAO community. Subsequently, we will welcome all participants and introduce the competitions. We will provide a brief overview of each one of them and explain the judging criteria. You will have the opportunity to hear valuable thoughts and tips shared by judges, mentors, and organizers. These individuals come from diverse backgrounds and industries, ensuring that you receive valuable advice and tips on how to win the hackathon. Finally, we will have an AMA session where participants can ask questions to our judges, mentors, and organizers. We wish all the participants the best of luck and look forward to seeing the innovative solutions that you will come up with during this hackathon. Once again, thank you all for joining us today, and let's make this hackathon a great success. So now, without further ado, We would like to invite our judges to join us in this live session to share their insights about the hackathon's competitions. Let us welcome our three judges representing our jury for this hackathon to share details about the three competitions. Firstly, for the Generative AI Applications competition, we have with us Nestor Camilo, the Cloud Adoption Director of Oracle. Nestor Camilo has over 37 years of experience in IT, with a special focus on digital transformation, artificial intelligence, cloud, smart city, big data, IoT, and cybersecurity. Welcome, Nestor. Please join us on stage.
Hello. Hi. This is a great
Please,
pleasure to be
Banyun,
here.
join us on stage.
So I can start? Okay. Thanks. There's some delay here. This is a pleasure to be here, and I want to talk and all the others judges having this hackathon. This really is a wonderful opportunity to share ideas, to be creative, and in particular, I have to introduce the generative AI conquest. Next slide, please. Probably everybody has heard something about generative AI applications. There is a lot of noise in the market the last months, and been everybody's talking about some form of generative application. But for me, this is really an incredible opportunity to have the creation of a new type of application. Really, I think that we can do a lot of new application using this technology. Can you put the next slide, please? And I have been playing myself with some of the tools, and everybody knows that it's really very easy now to take a few photos, and you can be the dream character that you like. Just yesterday, I was in an event and get another set, because these are all the photos and with new look, but I was not able to upload the new version. I will share it in the LinkedIn probably. But really, this is not just about generating image. Okay, maybe you can generate image with stable diffusion. Really, stable diffusion do a lot, opening their software to a lot people can do that again. But this is also having a new way to interact with computer. Next slide, please. Probably most of you have touched some chat GPT or touched Midjourney or some of the tools that started to interact most easy with the people. And this opened a new space for interaction with the rest of the world, not just the very trained people. I dream about having new learning experience. I imagine having, for example, a teacher that explain a topic to their student, do some introduction, they give them some challenge, and each student can get a personalized learning experience with their current needs, with their interests, with their challenge. Imagine the level that we can get in with the student, the involvement that they can get if they get the information that they like for the topic that they need to know. For me, in education, this can be transformative. But it's not just education. For me, every industry has a chance to change this type of internet in the artificial intelligence. For example, yesterday I see a sample that also showed me the potential for tourism. Yeah, with a few training, you can do, for example, a picture of you in a very nice angle that is possible to get from any camera. And you can use this as a way to show your friends that you like to go someplace and start dreaming about this. And so just as a sample, I use, obviously, as most of you said, tested ChatGPT to see what they said about the welcoming. You can read it. And also, other example, saying just a dog uh, with in a moon, and in Spanish also, not just in English, and got this excellent image. So there is a lot of things that can be done. My perspective is that uh, you can do better if instead of thinking in a global everything tool, you think about an industry challenge and think about training some specific use case and do something that can help an human, an expert or a near expert that use your tool to do better your job. I think that this type of application can be amazing. So thanks for your time and hope to see a lot of very wonderful hacks.
Next, representing the Synthetic Data Applications competition, we have Raghu Banda, Senior Director of AI Product Management at SAP Labs. With around 25 years of experience in diverse business units, including product management and product strategy, solutions engineering, and product development, Raghu is an accomplished speaker and a proven leader to present new and innovative solutions to customers and marketing professionals in attaining a larger market presence. It's a pleasure to have you here, Raghu. Please come up and join us on the stage.
Thank you all for joining this Worldwide AI Hackathon. My name is Raghu Banda. I'm the Senior Director, AI Product Management at SAP Labs. So that was a great introduction by Eric. And also we have seen a great introduction into our one of the other sessions by Nestor. So I would like to briefly talk on the topic of synthetic data applications and the importance of the synthetic data applications. As we all know, data is the new oil and data is the foundation layer when we are creating these AI applications. So can you go to the next slide, please? So as we all know, data is the new oil and data is the foundation layer when we are building any of these AI applications. There are three different aspects when we are building AI applications on top of on leveraging data, which is where we have people, processes, and technologies. And all of this is really used, and we are kind of involved in using the data. So data being the most important aspect, here comes synthetic data. So creating synthetic data and using this data in real life applications is very important, because in many of these applications what happens is that data is scarce and sometimes we don't even have the enough data to create the AI applications or the AI models. So this is where we, starting with the synthetic data, the importance of synthetic data, we encourage the contestants to come up with different innovative ideas to create synthetic data, and you can apply it across different sectors, as we all know how important it is. So maybe can we go to the next slide? So there are three main big reasons, right? Apart from talking that data is the new oil and data is the foundation layer for building any of these AI applications, there are three big important reasons to develop effective solutions when we use synthetic data. Obviously, accuracy is one of the most important aspect. When you do not have enough data available, and we try to create, we use synthetic data related innovations and create synthetic data, obviously what happens is that you can create much more realistic and accurate predictions, because synthetic data being closer creation of realistic data which is closer to the real data. but still it is anonymous. Now, the second important aspect is privacy. We all know how important it is for data for the data privacy. So, in this aspect, the second important thing is that you could you could anonymize the data and create this synthetic data, which is very important. The third important reason is scalability, right? In this way, when you create synthetic, when we use different innovative ways of creating synthetic data, you can realistically scale the applications that you are building. So these are the three important reasons to develop synthetic data, to develop effective solutions when we are using synthetic data: accuracy, privacy, and scalability. Now, for the context, for the contest that we are talking about today, let us go into the next slide and briefly talk about what kind of exciting use cases we as judges or we are looking at. We all know there are uh, one important aspect that we can realistically go and build applications around is the AI driven assisted tools in medical diagnosis. This is where I think you do not need to worry about the data privacy with regard to patients' data. So what that is one important healthcare applications is one important aspect that you could go and build some nice innovative solutions in creating synthetic data. Another important aspect could be detecting fraud in different transactions that we have. Nowadays, online, we see a lot of different innovative ways of how we do financial transactions. So this is where the aspect of getting fraud is very high. So to prevent fraud happening, you could realistically build solutions so that you could anticipate ahead of time how fraud can be prevented. And maybe another important aspect would be, or another important use case would be to create, uh, in some of the applications we see data bias a very big topic. We do not have data across the different geographies or across the different uh, uh, applications. So maybe that is another important aspect of how you could create synthetic data so that you can fill in and prevent data bias happening. And maybe there are few other use cases around agricultural industry so that you could handle, create some beautiful applications. Or there are some other applications where creation of data itself, uh, the real data might be more costly when we are embedding into the machine learning models that we are building. So again, here synthetic data might be interesting or innovative so that we can gain a lot from that. So having said that, I'll wish you all the best uh, for the hackathon. And we are all waiting to see some innovative ways of how you could create synthetic data across the different applications that we have or uh, that we can see.
Last but not least, for the self-supervised learning in the autonomous industry competition, we are honored to have Patrick Banger, former VP of AI at Samsung SDS, and now Senior VP of Data Analytics and AI at Sears. With a background in the process industry, he has an eye for practical applications that deliver value in the real world, from optimizing power plant efficiency to enabling predictive maintenance in upstream and downstream plants. He has worked on practical AI projects on 4 continents. Patrick, the stage is yours. Please come and join us.
I spent the last 3 years being vice president for artificial intelligence at Samsung. I've changed to Sears, where I'm senior vice president for data analytics and AI, doing the professional services around Google Cloud and AWS. So I'm really, really looking forward to this hackathon and seeing the fantastic things that you guys are going to do and submit all around AI coming from all over the world. It's very exciting for me to be a part of the panel of judges. So I hope to see some really good Submissions. Let's go to the next slide, please. So the previous speaker said data is the new oil. That is absolutely spot on, right? I've spent a long time in the oil industry, so I just want to say oil has to be refined before you can meaningfully use it, right? You can't just take the crude oil out of the ground and use it. So there is a refinery involved, and with us, that is the artificial intelligence part. Some of which has to be done prior to learning, and some of it, of course, is being done by the learning algorithm itself. Self-supervised learning is an area that is seeing a lot of research growth in the last few years. Of course, it's an old area, but what you're trying to do here is to generate an AI model without having human-generated labels. The reason for that is that humans labeling data are expensive, time-consuming, and they make mistakes. It therefore often becomes just simply practically unfeasible to go through a very large data set and label it. So we would like to learn from a data set without labels, and that, of course, is much more tricky, right? If we think back to when we went to school, school was kind of helpful because we had a teacher. Imagine going to school without teachers. That's self-supervised learning. So obviously, it's going to be a bit more rickety. You'll require perhaps more data or more cleaned data, right? So self-supervised from supervised is a different thing. The autonomous industry here, of course, could be autonomous driving, but it could be autonomous many other things. We're trying to, of course, generate AI and AI-enabled physical devices in the future that can autonomously take care of many of the everyday things that currently humans take care of. Let's go to the next slide, please. So some of the things that we need to look for in self-supervised learning, as I mentioned, the data is unlabeled, so that's an issue that has to be dealt with. Performance is, of course, always an issue with artificial intelligence. There are two performances issues involved here. First of all, the performance of the artificial intelligence learning algorithm, which tends to take a lot of computational resources and time. Both of those together involve lots of money. The second performance issue is at what we call inference, when the finished AI model is then deployed and used in the practical instance. You have lots of practical instances flooding into the AI, and you have to execute it. Possibly you need to execute it what they call at the edge, which means on a relatively small and constrained device that might be in the car or on your mobile phone or somewhere else where you have limited resources, and even then it needs to be performant according to whatever is required. So as an example, if you're going to do video analytics and the video is in 30 frames per second, then 30 frames per second is a very well-defined performance limit. Right? If your algorithm is capable of running at 29 frames a second, you will fail. If your algorithm is capable of running at 50 frames a second, well, the additional 20 isn't going to matter because the data comes in 30. So you need to look out, of course, what is the use case and target things for that. Adaptability is very important because AI tends to be valid only for the data it's trained on. If the data that is coming into the finished model is slightly different from the training data, then AI models tend to fail. So how adaptable is your model to slightly out of distribution data for real world applications? Very important. And of course, future proofing to make sure that things will be relevant ongoing from here on out and won't become irrelevant 2 months down the road. There is, in many cases, a race to getting better and better models. And then every couple of weeks, somebody comes up with a new and better model. So then you're just participating in a race, but not really producing anything useful. Next slide, please. So some of the exciting use cases, and next slide here, please, that we're going to be looking for, and these are just examples, of course. Please be innovative here and invent some of your own. Can we have the next slide? And look at some of these use cases that you might be able to support with your hackathon submissions. So here we go. So one of the important things in treating images and videos is object detection, where you draw a rectangle around an object, or segmentation, where you draw a smooth boundary around the outside of an object. In both cases, you then say, this object is whatever it is, a chair, a table, a human being, Patrick directly. That, of course, means you need to define the granularity of what you're looking for, right? Are you trying to distinguish human from non-human? Or are you going to go down very deeply and identify Patrick as a specific human being different from other humans, right? So define your problem carefully. Text element detection is when I speak text and there are certain important pieces in there. For example, information about a location, information about a time. Then you want to detect that this is a time statement, this is a location statement, and then extract from that the important part. That's important in converting a spoken prose text into a form. So for example, if I want to order a plane ticket by describing what I want, and you then have to fill out the Expedia form based on my text, that requires me to detect in my speech where I am, where I want to go, when I want to fly, when I want to return, and so on. Right? So that's a very important application and practice. Robotic navigation, some of you may have a Roomba vacuum cleaner in your house, right? How does it figure out where to vacuum clean, where it's already vacuumed, so that it's most efficient, right? It vacuum cleans the whole living room, but it doesn't vacuum clean the same space twice. That could be transferred to self-driving cars, to robots, retrieving things in the field. Very many applications to that. 3D depth sensing has become popular in recent years. This is where you take a couple of photographs, normal two-dimensional photographs of an object, and then use AI to reconstruct the complete three-dimensional image of the object. It looks pretty on the screen if you can rotate it, but the real practical application of that is that now you can 3D print that object, right? So imagine that I can put two pictures of a coffee cup, print out the coffee cup, and then there I have it. So examples like this could be ideas for the hackathon. Looking forward to your submissions. Thank you for having me part of the panel. Good luck to you all, and see you soon.
Excellent, Patrick. Thank you very much for this detailed explanation of some of the use cases.
Thank you to all of our esteemed judges for providing their valuable insights. We are excited to announce that we have compiled a pre-recorded video featuring judges from around the world sharing their perspectives on the AI hackathon and providing guidance on how to distinguish a successful project. Get ready to be inspired and gain knowledge.
I really hope to see very original ideas. I feel like the topics are very flexible. I personally like a lot the generative AI for obvious reasons. But I want to see participants going beyond the typical applications, what we are seeing from the companies, from the industry. I think that bringing creative solutions and especially targeting important topics that could have some social value, etc. That's what I'm hoping to see.
The first thing I will expect from this competition is learning. In every sense, learning from the participants, learning from judges, learning from the public. And within that learning, I think that the contribution to humanity is essential, that in some way this competition contributes a grain of sand to development and growth of humanity. Within this contribution, it seems to me more interesting that we find solutions to problems or opportunities that human beings have not been able to solve. I don't find it so interesting to using artificial intelligence to perform tasks that humans already do well, such as studying, creating, researching a topic, making criticisms or reading. For this reason, I prefer solve problems that human beings have not been able to solve.
Yeah, like I said, I hope to see some real insights on new interesting problems in AI. And I'm quite sure, given the breadth of the scope of the hackathon and the fact that people from all over the world will participate with different backgrounds, we will get that. Well, obviously, there's a lot of scope for leveraging the recent large language models to do a number of things, from theory of mind to emotional understanding. There's a lot of untapped potential in language models. I do feel that they're taking maybe too large a share of the attention of the public and also the researchers. So I hope people will still pursue some original avenues that could be the new language models in 5 or 10 years' time.
One of the biggest things I'm really passionate about when I'm judging a project is primarily what problem are we solving? Okay, what is the difference we're trying to make, and what is the real challenge that we're looking to solve with this solution that we are working on, that you're building. The second thing is making sure that it's something that can be achieved, right? So that we could come up with massive, huge vision and solutions, but what is it that we can achieve from the problem that we're looking to solve? That, and I like to see a plan of how we are going to actually productionize this thing in the future, because ultimately, what we want to try to do is look at the solution that we're developing and think about right from the get-go, how will this scale? Like, how will this scale? How will this fit into the ecosystem? Now, I want people to kind of be having that visionary thought process in their mind to think that if we do go ahead with this, or if this gets accepted and if you are the winner, what's the plan behind it, right? So think about that beforehand. So I want people who are proactive and who are thinking about the long-term vision as well as what they're producing right now. Third thing is in terms of what you have learned and what you're going to pass on to other people. So I want this to be a highly collaborative activity in nature. So it's very important for people to learn, to kind of get a good sense of what they've taken from this activity and how are they going to teach that or share that with other people. Kind of anecdotes, kind of a few other areas what I think are important is making sure that you obviously have a unique idea, right? So make sure it's something different that you're doing. Don't want to be doing something exactly like for like.
Well, I think there's two components. One is originality of thought and novelty, and the other one is impressive empirical results. And you can have the best idea in the world, but if it's not backed up by your numbers, then people will likely not pay a lot of interest to it. So I think it needs to be a combination of both. So novelty and originality of thought and very good empirical results.
I think the impact and the replicability of the project is for me the main thing that separates a successful project than a non-successful one. I mean, I imagine there's gonna be like lots of wonderful ideas and projects, but the ones that have the more impact, the more replicability, and that may become something greater.
Artificial intelligence has taken an impressive leap in the last year, and the growth will be exponential from now on. Never before has the world opened its arms to artificial intelligence so much. And the ideas that emerge at this time will endure over time, obviously evolving at the rapid pace of technology, so the time is now. If it's not you, it will be others who will take advantage of this unique opportunity in history. So let's do it. Come on.
The main advice I can give is just enjoy the experience, put some effort. You are participating, make the most of this. You never know how good this experience can be. I personally started my career by joining hackathons and technical events. And then I met people, I create ideas, other people create the startups. So I think put the most of that and let's see how that goes.
Nothing is impossible. That's why I would say is don't fear that it's not a bad idea, or don't fear that you can't do it, or there's no chance of you winning, or I think you should have a very open mind about this and just be fearless and jump into it, right? And do it, because the more you think about it, the more you procrastinate, the more the less chance of you having participation in here and kind of actually having success of being a winner in this event. So I think don't have any fear, go for it. Take it on as an opportunity.
Moving on, we would like to introduce you to the concept of WODAO, the first decentralized autonomous organization for the AI community. I'm thrilled to introduce Ms. Hadao, CEO and co-founder of WOAI, co-organizer of this hackathon. Thomas Newbert, former GM DB AI Acceleration at Intel, founder of Transatlantic AI Exchange and co-organizer of this hackathon, as well as one of the core members of the DAO. Chris Burns, IP attorney, Web3 advisor, pioneer IP NFT legal frameworks for decentralized science. They all will discuss the vision and mission of WODAO and how it aims to benefit AI community. Please give a warm virtual welcome to Thomas and Chris, who will be joining us today to discuss WODAO and its mission.
Good morning and good evening wherever you are, and welcome to the opening ceremony of our AI hackathon for the WODAO. Allow me for a few minutes to introduce WODAO, the team, the vision, and the purpose, and why we are all here. So first of all, the WODAO is what we believe the first decentralized autonomous organization for the AI community. The WODAO itself is blockchain based, and it's a full cycle ecosystem of all the AI inventions that's being developed within the realm of Web3 and blockchain that covers the entire innovation phase, from building artificial intelligence and ML models and implementing them to commercializing them as intellectual property, non-fungible tokens. So this is going to be a community effort, and what we are trying to build and what we are envision is the WOW AI or the WODAO ecosystem. And it's being built over time in certain phases. In phase 1, we are creating and building the hackathon. That's why we are here, and thank you all the hacker teams and the members and the judges and the mentors to contribute to this pretty big, important effort. In phase 1, we are going to announce the hackathon platform in itself. Everybody on this call obviously has signed up, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But ultimately, this is just the beginning of the big vision that we have. The first one is, let's build the hackathon platform, which we have, invite the potential members of the DAO as the participants within the hackathon. That's phase one. We are starting it right now in the month of April, and it will last until August, and then hopefully it will conclude in the early September timeframe, and hopefully we can celebrate that with a day and a half of an AI Web3 conference that we are putting together here in California or Silicon Valley. So that's the first phase. We are then in parallel starting the efforts of crowdfunding the platform for the AI startups, and we will invite all the potential members to look into that potentially, as well as regular investors that we are going to get introduced. In parallel to organizing the hackathon, we are reaching out to crowdfunding opportunities and to individual investors. So everybody is invited to contribute. If you have somebody who has an interest, please let us know. But in general, just to sum up this very complex picture here, is we are trying to simply democratize AI and put the control of the IP into the hands of the individual developer so that they can actually get the gain over time, which is the beauty of Web3 and blockchain. So with that in mind, we are going to use this ecosystem to provide a data marketplace where things can be traded and sold and resold. We are creating an IP pool of all AI innovations where the contribution of all members will gain from the increased value cumulatively. And at the same time, we are going to have this ecosystem built for an entire developer ecosystem of developers, where the developers can meet developers, the developers can meet marketplaces, investors can meet startups, and so on. So that's the bigger vision of the WOW DAO that we have in mind. With that, I would leave it with that, and I would like to bring it over to Chris, one of the founding members, who will talk about the legal IP side as well.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm excited to describe for everyone the intellectual property commons that we'll be using with WOW DAO. I'm sure many in our audience are familiar with intellectual property commoning, be it through the use of open source licenses, Creative Commons, or perhaps some of you have even participated in the past in patent pooling. The intellectual property commons that WOW DAO is developing is a first of its kind Web3 enabled IP commons run on intellectual property NFTs. We're thrilled to use an IP commons as a vehicle for WOW DAO because it offers us both an opportunity to bring community together, to co-develop IP, and to ensure our participants in WOW DAO have a freedom to operate, while still preserving IP producers and those in the DAO creating their own IP commercial rights. We do this by pooling our IP and creating what is essentially a limited open access licensing framework. While enabling members of the DAO to share IP with each other, we restrict open access to only those inside the DAO. Those outside of the DAO are able to subscribe to our IP commons and IP pool, and we also allow piecemeal licensing for those who only want to utilize certain pieces of IP that the DAO creates. Web3-enabled IP commoning is one of the most promising forms of use cases for Web3 technology that we have. Through this, we feel confident that we'll be able to really help further democratize AI and its development. I'll now turn it over to Ha.
Thanks, Chris. So as a token holders, you can have several benefits. You can have a voice to shape the future of your own organization. You can govern the organization, and you can receive rewards for any single activity you are engaging with the ecosystem. You can receive the free access to all the necessary tools within the ecosystem, and also the IP common pool for AI inventions. You can have early access to AI startups, and most importantly, you will receive the profit sharing when the DAO has profits. And after the hackathon, we welcome all the participants, including judges, mentors, contestants, and attendees to be initial members of the DAO by sharing the airdrop tokens to all the participants. This is our overall roadmap right now. Actually, we started this mission from September last year, and so far we are wrapping up the legal paper, and we are expecting to launch the DAO in Q3 this year, when we have the final conference of the Worldwide AI Hackathon along with the Web3 Summit. We will also have the IP Pool initial development in Q3, and the crowdfunding platform should be ready after September, so that top winners of the hackathon will be able to raise funds from the community by selling the intellectual property NFT to the community. And we also expect to have the data marketplace to be built by the end of Q3 this year. And in Q4, we expect to have the initial token distribution at the end of the 2023.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for listening to the introduction of the WowDAO, and thank you in behalf of our core team, Chris, Ha, and myself on the call. Thank you very much, and enjoy the ride. So that was the introduction of the WowDAO, and as you can see, the hackathon is the foundation of what we are trying to pull off with the hackathon and the audiences behind it, plus the judges and the mentors. But obviously, there's a much bigger vision here in regards to the creation of the DAO, meaning ultimately that we want to put the founders, these entrepreneurs, and the developers in the center of this organization as being equal members and contributors, and give you your own IP development, the ability to use the ecosystem to sell, resell, find some VCs, collaborate with others to make an even better product. So there's a bigger vision behind it. With that in mind, maybe just step back for a second and let's talk a little bit about the hackathon itself. So if we can share the slide, please. Here we go. Okay. So I will make it very quick. Some of the stuff has already been talked about. We are a little bit. So for the hackathon registration already has happened or is happening right now. People can join, and if you haven't talked to your network of friends, people, students, what have you, we are still open for registration until the end of June. There will be a schedule in regards to August, probably towards the middle of August, where we have the submission accepted from the hackathon. And then ultimately, talking and coming back to the DAO, we are going to plan a worldwide hackathon closing ceremony, meaning there's a day and a half physical event, or hybrid event, I should say, but it physically is taking place here in Silicon Valley, California. Most likely it will be either in the city of Mountain View at an interesting venue called the Tech Museum, which is right in the middle of the Google campus next to Microsoft campus, or hopefully, knock on wood, it will be supported even better for all of us by Stanford, and we have it on the beautiful Stanford campus. That decision will be made in the next week, maximum 2 weeks. So that is the ultimate goal. It's this particular event. And at the event, we are launching the DAO with all the things that we just discussed. So next slide, please. Eric has already mentioned it at the very beginning, but I just want to re-emphasize that on one hand, we are all about enabling founders and entrepreneurs and builders to take control of your own destiny. Okay? So we are trying to provide a development platform and tools with the hackathon and to enable the ecosystem that will then be used to create own license and monetize your own asset. And then we introduce the concept of the blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. So right now, we are very proud to say that within only a couple of months or less than that, we have over 1,200 contestants registered. We are reaching out to more universities and other ecosystem partners to spread the word. Most likely, our target is north of 2,000 contestants. And as you can see, they are already coming from more than 75 countries all over the world. And keep in mind, I want to overemphasize that, or not emphasize that, is that whatever we do here is building the community of the DAO system where we will all participate and gain and are equal members of based on our individual contribution. So next slide is just a brief snapshot of what Eric emphasized at the beginning. We have over 100 judges and mentors. And considering the amount of teams that we probably will have, we definitely need the amount of mentors to handhold and support their individuals through this journey. We are very proud to have judges and mentors representing the biggest players within this particular industry. You can see the slides here, the logos. I don't have to repeat all of them, but as you can see, it's the who of the industry. So thank you very much for all the judges and mentors. And if there's anybody else who has other ideas of companies who should participate or be a sponsor, then please let us know. Next slide. Again, it's already on our website, and Patrick did a really good job in diving deeper into some of these ideas. After voting with the judges initially, we came up with 3 competitions to conquer. And just to let everybody know, we left it intentionally on a very high level. We didn't want to be specific, but what we did was, as a group, we decided that there were many, but we decided challenges, the generative AI applications, the synthetic data applications, and obviously the self-supervised learning in the autonomous industry. Now it's up to individual team members to identify opportunities, use cases, and help collectively to identify problems within the real world that can actually be solved by applying any of these 3 challenges. Because that really what stands out, that really what makes you unique, and that really what puts you on the forefront of being one of the award winners within these 3 categories. So I leave it with that. Patrick already gave you some ideas. And with that, if everything is working correctly, I would like to hand it over to
Thanks, Thomas. So we received a lot of questions from our contestants why we set general concepts of competitions. And Thomas already mentioned we have around more than 100 judges and mentors coming from a wide range of industries. So we want to give you valuable advices from a diverse expertise. And also we aim to incubate startup and encourage you to come up with innovation and creativity so we can try to feel free to come up with unique ideas, and especially if you can solve real world problems, it will be great. Next slide, please. So in this hackathon, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. With a huge prize pool for competition, for 3 competitions, we will pick up 3 finalists per each competition, and then 9 finalists will have a chance to fly to San Francisco, as Thomas already mentioned, to present the final outputs in front of thousands of attendees, and also in front of our VCs in our ecosystem. Then you can raise funds, and then you can start with your startup, and you can also have the opportunity to commercialize your outputs after the hackathon. You can have access free access to the comprehensive platform to view your AI products. And also we will have airdrop tokens campaign for all the participants of this hackathon as well. Next slide, please. So as already mentioned on the dashboard on the platform, we will have to submit one video to demo your product. This one should be 1 to 2 minutes, and you can also submit a pitch deck where you can highlight all of the functions and all of the creativity that you want to show with the judges and mentors. And it's optional for you to submit code base and document like paper, but video and pitch deck will be mandatory. Next slide, please. So after, I think, 2 months, all of our judges voted 6 criteria to score. The first one will be innovation. The second one will be the functionality of your outputs. The third one will be originality and creativity. But it doesn't mean that you will have to build AI models from the scratch. You can also use open source model, or you can fine tune from pre-trained models, and then you can come up with innovative ideas to solve the real world problems by using those pre-trained models. And it should be practical. And of course, we hope that you can come up with ideas that can be beneficial for the whole humanity. And we have 3 competitions themes, so you should come up with ideas to make sure that it can be consistent with the hackathon theme. And you don't have to wait for anything. The hacking period already started from February, so you have 3 months left until the end of June to submit your final output. So it's time for you to start as soon as possible. Go to dashboard, see the competition you want to hack, and then check the tutorial one more time, and then you can reach out to mentors and ask for their support, and then you can start your hacking and submit outputs as soon as possible. And now we would like to welcome one of our incredible mentors to go on the stage and share with you the tips and thoughts, and you can learn from that. Jesus Homigo, welcome on the stage.
Thank you very much, Ha. Hello, everybody. There's a phenomenal lineup of mentors from where you can leverage their expertise and their guidance to develop more innovative and meaningful AI projects. So here's some hints I can provide you and that you can employ during your participation to make it more meaningful. So first of all, I'd say seek feedback. Mentors can provide valuable feedback on your project and help you identify areas for improvement. Don't be afraid to ask. They are there for that, and they will provide feedback that you can incorporate as suggestions into your projects. Also, stay bold and learn new skills. Mentors often have specialized knowledge and skills that can help you overcome technical challenges or expand your understanding of AI. Take advantage of that and their expertise to ask questions and learn new skills. A third one would be brainstorm ideas. Don't be afraid of that. Even if it sounds like not so good idea, mentors can help you brainstorm and approach it from a different angles to solve your problem or whichever idea you're working on. Use their insights and expertise to develop more creative and innovative solutions in this case. Also, use the hackathon to gain industry insights. Mentors can provide you insights to the industry and the market trends that can inform your project and help you develop a solution that is really more impactful, which is something you should be looking for. Also, make sure you network a lot. Network, and network. Mentors can help you expand your professional network and connect you with other experts in the field. So use this opportunity to build those relationships, make them stronger than ever, because you will need them in the future. In summary, you participants can leverage the expertise and guidance of the mentors to gain feedback, learn new skills, brainstorm ideas, gain industry insights, and expand your network. Don't hesitate to ask for help whenever you need.
Thank you so much, Jesus, for your great tips and thoughts. And now we also combined a video of other mentors sharing their thoughts and tips.
Three things to keep in mind. One, keep the project simple. I cannot emphasize that enough. Number two, don't jump into coding. As soon as you have an idea, don't just go jump and start coding. I strongly recommend that you first have a very clear view as to what your outputs should be, and then work backwards to the inputs. And basically, you're stitching the entire pipeline from left to right, and anticipate any potential pitfalls and plan accordingly. Number three, have fun. I hope we'll all do very, very well and succeed. I'm actually looking forward to seeing some of these projects. Thank you, and see you all soon. Bye.
Here's some advices that I wish someone told me when I was starting in my career. I think you can apply to this hackathon. First is instead of starting a business or an idea based on a new technology, first I think you have to focus on the problem you want to solve and how you're gonna apply technology, like for instance AI, to provide a better solution. Second, it's start from the desired end result and then work backwards to the beginning. And that's, of course, after you have a good understanding of the problem you want to solve. That's the most efficient way to come up with a solution in the minimum amount of time.
So I believe that the guidance from mentors might benefit development projects by helping on identifying useful benchmarks or reference that are related to the project. And it's also important to give some feedback on planning, and also like breaking down the project into smaller and intermediate pieces and deliverables, so that a more iterative and trial and error approach could be applied. It's also important to identify possible knowledge gaps in the team, and possibly incentivize participants to join or even merge teams with complementary skills, depending on the needs as well.
I'm expecting to see innovation projects with AI technology, obviously, but I think that the participants need to be disruptive. Okay, they need to be focusing, okay, we have a problem to solve and we are not afraid about how we can solve the problem. So I think that we need to be focusing, think really outside the box. Okay, we starting to work with AI. It's a very good step, because with the innovation we are already thinking a little bit outside the box, but we need to think, okay, there is a problem, we need to find a way to solve it.
I think what really is something that I'm looking forward for, Eric, in this whole hackathon is there's a bunch of fresh minds, and I would like to see where they're coming from, what is their creativity, and not just looking at what's happening in the world, but I think there are very fresh minds, very fresh thoughts, and I think that gives a very diverse thinking on how businesses could evolve in these directions. And is this something that I could take back to my business, saying that why don't we look at and transition our own? Because I think every organization is going through a digital transformation in some form and journey, and I think these hackathons give those pathways to think differently. And I think that's the similar outcome that I'm looking at this one.
At the end of this event, I hope to see participants have a lot of learning. In addition, I would like to see AI products that have innovation and creativity to solve problems.
What I found really helpful is when people are able to really articulate the problems that they're trying to solve and see if the mentors can really help with the mentors network and also some of their experience. And so be specific about what you need and we'll be able to do great things. Thanks.
I find the most effective start in a hackathon is to establish clear communication channels. This means setting up regular check-ins with your mentors and teammates and using messaging apps to stay in touch. By doing so, you can ensure that progress is moving forward and that everyone is on the same page. Next, collaborate and share ideas with your team members. Remember to be positive, inclusive, and build on each other's proposals. Enjoy your time and think beyond the hackathon to the relationships you might build through this shared experience. Then, identify your strengths and weaknesses and those of your teammates. Figure out early on who is good at what. By doing so, you can anticipate and fill gaps sooner than later. You should also use your mentors to help you.
The first thing is to define a roadmap of the project with objective and milestone. I can help the team to scope the project, guide them to explore new horizons, and if they are blocked sometimes, I can also unblock them. I can also check the milestone, challenge them, and review the final pitch and demo, of course, for the last final step.
And my other piece of advice is to avoid some of the common pitfalls, such as defining the project to be an Uber project, scope of the project to be humongous, and unrealistic timelines, and haphazard program management. I think some of the very helpful things you'll find with the mentors in this program are very experienced people who can guide you, who can make you come to the correct conclusions and work towards successful execution of the project.
Yeah. So the most common pitfall which I observe from hackathons is that either the participants do not focus on the feasibility of the study which they do. So feasibility is one major thing which they should focus on. And the next thing is how they bring it or how their product is given to the customers. Because most of the products are based on the business value, not on the customer value. So whatever solution developed by the participants or the team members should be based on the customer value and not on the business value. So these two are the major things where the participant has to concentrate on so that we develop a better solution which will be useful for the society and there will be an advancement in the technology as well.
We are a little bit behind schedule, but the video I think was very insightful for the audiences. You want to spend a few minutes on addressing the AMA sessions and give members a little bit more of an idea how they can connect with the team so they can create what tools
Sure.
are available to them.
I also want to invite Jesus on the stage because there are some questions I think mentor can answer better than us because I saw some questions from the contestant side. Jesus.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me look through the question. So one of the latest question we received from one of our attendees today, you can see how generative AI taking the market and what do you think will this make impact on person capability?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, the question is from Rico. As you can see that how generative AI taking the market over the world, what do you think will it make impact on person capability?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question. Generative AI will help humans augment their abilities. I don't think they're here to substitute the human abilities, but just to augment them. And I'm looking at it specifically from an angle of generating data for synthetic training applications. I think this is where really it's going to have a tremendous impact, where you can feed back into a neural network content generated by some other neural networks, and by that making sure you make those stronger from an analytical point of view.
So, because there are so many pre-trained generative AI models, and as a mentor, do you think it's a good idea for our contestant to just fine tune and use pre-trained models, and then just make some other useful applications for any other industries?
Well, I think any pre-trained model that you can use as a base to elaborate and build on top, it's just time that you will save training on GPUs, that's for sure. And there's a brilliant stuff out there that you can use and reuse to build some specific applications on top, certainly.
Awesome. Thomas, I think there is one question related to the DAO. One of our attendees is asking, is it mandatory to use any of the Web3 platform, because the DAO in Web3 kind of confusing for them? Hey, Thomas, are you still there?
I am. I have a very hard time listening to the audio because of the, yes, I am here.
Can you hear one voice or two voices?
Put the question into the text. Audio is impossible. It's.
All right. So I'm gonna text you. Yeah, Lee just texted you. Hopefully you can reach the text.
So I think the generic answer to the question is that nobody is forced to do anything and nothing is mandatory. Okay, we are trying to build this DAO enabled by using Web3 blockchain technology to build this decentralized organization and put the control into the hands of the IP inventors. That's really the bigger picture. If somebody decides to participate in the hackathon and taking advantage of the mentors, taking advantage of finding other team members, and the topics are appealing, then please do so. Ultimately, it is up to the individuals to decide what to do with your work. You can take it home with you and do your own startup on the side. You can leave it partially or in full into the future DAO IP pool. For that, obviously, you will get compensated in form of tokens after everything is legally in place. I had an interesting similar question in the past from somebody else, where the IP is a little bit sensitive because of other government deals and what have you. And that is all up for discussion. You can have some of the IP part of the pool. You can have some that you keep private and you do something with it. It always depends how much you want to contribute to the pool, get something in return versus doing something independent.
So one of our attendees asking, does parent support be provided if in case idea and MVP is original? Within the hackathon from now until the end of August, this one is out of scope, but definitely this is something the DAO ecosystem that we are intending to build and invite you to be a part of it. Later, you will get support with this one. So after the hackathon, let's say you want to continue and join the DAO, one of the part in the DAO will be IP pool, where the IP attorney team will support you to file patent, a provisional patent form, and then you will get support to tokenize your IP or intellectual property of your innovation on blockchain, and then you can start not only protecting your intellectual property but also to monetize it. And also, you can feel rest assured that all our churches, mentors, organizers, everyone will have to sign up on an NDA. So your innovation will still belong to you. The intellectual property still belong to you, and you can see the output. You don't have to submit the code base or the paper. So I'm not sure if you still can hear me, but it seems like.
I can hear you. It's just this long delay and the double voices.
Okay. So another participant is asking if they can work on more than one competition. Let's say they can create a project. Let's say they can create a project that contains more than one theme. How do you feel about this?
I think this is good. I mean, it's good to be ambitious, but we need to be cautious about time. Of course, time is not forever, and we might tend to overcomplicate a project. So my advice is that participants may need to tackle project that is too complex. They shouldn't tackle a project that is too complex or ambitious. And break it into pieces. And as soon as they are delivering those pieces, of course, you can keep adding layers into it. But by focusing on different deliverables, you might not end up focusing on the problem, and that might become complicated, and you might run into trouble when the deadline approaches.
Okay, so. But I think our contestant is trying to ask, in case one of their project can fit with two competitions, can they submit for both? Because actually we have the price for each competition. Let's say each one has its own price, and in case their project can fit well with the context of both competitions, is it able for them to still submit for both one? I think.
I think that's probably more a question for you, but I think I'd say if I was a contestant, I would think the same way, right? Like if I use synthetic data and my approach is innovative enough to submit it through the synthetic data part of the contest, I would definitely say yes, like you can submit to both, but it depends on what it's written down in the conditions of the contest. Probably is for you, huh?
Yeah. Thomas, how do you feel about this one? Actually, right now we have not yet set any strict rules for this one, and our judges have not yet mentioned this before. As a judge, how do you think about this one? Can you hear as well?
No, sorry, I didn't hear the question. The audio is terrible.
So in case one project can fit in well with two competitions, can they submit for both? Can you hear us?
Yeah, the answer is yes. Why not? No limitations.
Okay. All right. We have some more questions. Are there any ethical considerations that developers should keep in mind when working with AI technology? Thomas, do you want to take this one, or Jesus, could you please have this one?
I think that's a good question. I mean, it depends on what the application is. If the application is not an evil application, for sure, I think it's fine to submit.
Okay, so I think we still have 3 more questions. How can hackathon participants continue to learn and grow their AI skills and knowledge beyond the event? and what resources or communities would you recommend for this purpose? So yeah, definitely, this is our ultimate goal for the hackathon. This is not just a traditional hackathon. Eventually we want to build a decentralized autonomous organization for the whole AI community. So you can feel free to join the DAO. And actually after the hackathon, we also try to invite all the participants to join as a member of the DAO, where you can seek for support from other peers, from our judges, mentors, and other incredible AI thought leaders, and contribute together. You can also have a say to shape the future of this organization, and you can have a chance to access to all the innovations within the ecosystem. You can access to all the tools necessary within the ecosystem, and most importantly, you can also receive the profit sharing, because the DAO is fully decentralized and it belongs to the community and built for the community. So one of our attendees is asking if they intend to build AI solutions solving issues from all industries. What industries will have feasible and social impactful and scalable solutions for contestants to focus on? I think, Jesus, you may want to take this question and give our contestants some tips.
Right. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, and he is asking if he wants to build AI solutions for solving the issues of some industries. So do you think which one will be the most feasible and social impactful and scalable that they should focus on? Yeah.
I think anything to do with health, it's a first thing to look at when you are looking into having a big impact. Under my point of view, and of course under my subjectiveness, but health is one of that topics that you could choose to make an impact. If you're not familiar with health, there's other types of health, not for humans, but there's health for animals and plants, or even health issues for buildings, like it's one of the topics I work on a daily basis. So you can help with AI understand what's broken and what's not in a building, or what's broken or what's not on a plant or a tree, what's happening. So I think anything to do with climate change, health, and anything that really helps augment human life for the good, it's super welcome.
Awesome. I think we have already 2 minutes left, so maybe one last question. So I think I'm gonna continue to ask Jesus, because one of our attendees is asking related to AI in healthcare and medical. Is it able for contestants to build AI using deep learning that can predict medical disease, improve patients' condition, or recommendation for treatments? This seems to be a sensitive question.
So that's a very good question. I think definitely yes. A different topic is like if that would get some approval from the entities that are regulatory in this field. But if you don't look at any regulations and look like how we can improve and detect and predict diseases or even conditions or seizures, for example, in the case of EEG prediction for seizures to do with epilepsy or any other topics like that, there's a big field to explore, right? Not only on the image side of things, where you are for sure familiar with how cancer detections using MRI or X-ray images now is so much better than human detection, but also you can look into prediction by looking at different types of data. For example, this kind of sensorial data that you can obtain from EEG EEG headsets, or anything to do with the watches or smart watches that are capturing some sort of patterns in your daily life. So there's a tremendous impact to be made there. There's many people working on those fields, and I invite you definitely to look into that, because this is what really will be meaningful and impactful from a judge point of view as well. It's definitely something that will call their attention.
That there will be so many ethical AI problems related to this topic, I guess. Because last time we also had a discussion with Patrick Bankert related to this one. Right. And AI in the healthcare industry, it's really sensitive, and we really need something like explainable AI and ethical AI in this topic.
Absolutely.
Hopefully our contestants can get support from judges and mentors to solve real world problems related to healthcare. Anyway, I think we can go with one more question that our contestant is asking if we provide any computing or API access to some large language models or not. So we don't provide API access to large language models, but we do provide you with the support in terms of computing, because right now you can have free access to using the platform to build and train the model. So feel free to access the platform by going to the My Team section, and then you can see a button to go to the labeling platform, and also you can use the notebook in the My Team section on the dashboard. So yeah, even though we still have a lot of questions, but we are out of time. I think it's time to pick up one question that you think is the most interesting one. I'm gonna leave it to you, Thomas or Jesus. Please help me to pick up one question, because we will award one person who has the most exciting question to receive $100. Which one do you think is the greatest one?
In my view, the best one was the one related to health, because of what you said. I mean, definitely you would face regulatory issues, but you also need to think with challenging the status quo in terms of like how you approach problems. It's not like you are gonna roll out that model without any validation in the future. But if you solve a problem, I'm sure that regulatory entities and big companies and funds will definitely back you up into bringing that product into market right to the point. So for me,
do you think they only have 3 months left? Do you think it's they can still have enough time to start from now and then build something like an MVP and submit? Do you think it's enough time for them?
I think so. I mean, it just depends on how you tackle the different problems and which problems are you trying to solve. There's definitely, just if we talk about one of the topics I touched on, like electroencephalography, there's plenty of data sets out there just for epilepsy, for example. So trying to work on time series data and prediction of GTC seizure or any other type of seizures using that data will definitely something doable during the 3 months, I'd say. Yeah. That's to give out one example.
And if they can make use of all our mentors, because we have more than 70 mentors right now. So if they can reach out to some mentors and ask for support, I think 3 months is okay for them. And anyway, thank you so much one more time, Jesus, and thank you so much all of our speakers, our judges, mentors, and of course, thank you so much participants for joining us today. We have to wrap up this opening ceremony in the morning session right now. And if you can not hear all the sessions for the morning session, you can also join our evening session that will happen at 8 p.m. The same day. And Thomas, do you have any other words that you want to say with our participants?
No, I think everything is good. Thank you very much for all the participants in the call, including our judges and mentors, and for the founders, the developers on this particular call. Honestly, I think if you listen to the advice of the mentors and the recordings in regards to the problem statements and things like that, That's a good advice to follow. And the other one is use all the communication tools, including Discord and others that are provided to you. Take advantage of the mentors. Take some time and look at the mentor list who may be, based on their background, the most appropriate for your idea. And in regards to help that you may need, that's what the mentors are for. Some of them have technical backgrounds, some of them business backgrounds. Take advantage of the platform and the community that's provided to you, and enjoy it and have fun.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.